Hey, welcome back to Othello. We're in Act 3 by William Shakespeare. In this video, I will discuss with you about half of the act, and then in the next video, I'll discuss the other half. Now remember that when we ended Act 2, Iago, the villain, has figured out what he's going to do, and that is to drive a wedge between Othello and his new wife, Desdemona. Othello, who has been the consummate bachelor and who is more of a middle-aged man, and beautiful Desdemona, who embodies the 7 virtues of charity, chastity, diligence, humility, kindness, patience, and temperance. Whereas Iago, who is jealous of not getting the appointment to the first lieutenant instead of being an advisor, he's going to advise everything right here. And remember, he is the embodiment of the 7 deadly sins: pride, envy, gluttony, greed, lust, and sloth. At the end of Act 2 in line 340, he says, before that, he says, I'm going to make my wife help me out with this. And then he says, for myself, the while to draw the more apart and bring him jump when he made Cassio find soliciting his wife. That's the way, do no device by coldness and delay. So he has set his sights on tearing apart Othello by ruining his love for his wife Desdemona. And he's going to be doing that by focusing Othello on jealousy or envy. But first, since we've had this moment that is so low, Shakespeare decides to interpolate a scene of comic humor. So he's giving us, as the audience, a break. And he brings in a clown along with Cassio. And this is the beginning of Act 3. And Cassio tells the musicians and the clown, masters, play here. I will content your pains. I'll pay you for it. Something that's brief and bid good morrow, general. So he spent some money so that he can actually talk to Othello about his being drunk the night before and flying off the handle. And so the musicians start to play, and the clown, of course, interrupts and says to the musicians, why, masters, have your instruments been in Naples that they speak in the nose thus? Meaning, there's a joke here about how Naples is smelly. And he's saying that your music stinks. And the musician says, how, sir, how? Are there, I pray, you call wind instruments? And the musician says, I marry, are they, sir? Oh, thereby hangs a tale. Whereby hangs a tale? And the clown says to the musician, because the clown is a smartass, right? Marry, sir, by many a wind instruments that I know, but masters, here's money for you, and the general so likes your music, so Othello so likes your music that he desires you for love's sake to make no more noise with it. And the musician, of course, is a little huffy. Well, sir, we will not. And then the clown asks him, if you have any music that may not be heard, do it again. So if you can play music that nobody can hear, go ahead and do it. But as they say, to hear music, the general does not greatly care. And the musician's all looking at his instrument. We have none such music, sir. Then put up your pipes in your bag, for all away. Go vanish into air away. And all of the musicians exit the stage. And Cassio says to the clown, dost thou hear, my honest friend? No, I hear not your honest friend. I hear you. He's a smart aleck, right? And Cassio says, here's some money for you. Will you please go to Emilia and say that I'd like to see her? with a little favor of speech. Will you do thus? She's stirring, sir. If she will stir hither, I shall seem to notify unto her. I shall seem. He's not committing. I'll act like I'm going to let her know. And Cassio says, do, my good friend. And now Iago enters, and Cassio, believing that Iago is a good person, so Cassio is totally deceived by Iago, and he asks him if he will help him get an interview with Desdemona so that Desdemona can petition Othello to let Cassio back into his position. And Iago tells him, I'll send her to you presently, and I'll devise a mean to drive her more out of the way that your converse and business may be more free. I'll keep Othello busy while you talk to Desdemona. And Cassio says, I humbly thank you for it. And Iago exits. And Cassio's evaluation of Iago is that he is I never knew a Florentine more kind and honest. He has no idea what he's getting into, because the idea is that Iago is telling Cassio he needs to talk to Othello's wife, and in the meantime, it will make it look like he's actually trying to court her, and in this way, Iago is going to make Othello jealous of Cassio and his wife. To doubt the two people that Othello has in his life who are most faithful to him. And Emilia comes in, because Iago has gotten her, and gives Cassio the update. And Cassio says to her in line 47, Yet I beseech you, if you think fit or that it may be done, give me advantage of some brief discourse with Desdemona alone, which is totally falling into the plan of Iago, so that Othello can look at Cassio alone with his wife. And she says, Pray you come in, I'll bestow you where you shall have time to speak your bosom freely, where you can speak your heart. Then we have a very brief scene 2, where Othello is going to go out and do what a general does, and check out the bulwarks of the fortress. Going on to scene 3, we have Desdemona coming in, Cassio comes in, and Emilia, who is Desdemona's lading in waiting, or her helper, comes in, and Desdemona says, Be thou assured, good Cassio, I will do all my abilities in thy behalf. I will be diligent in helping you out, because she understands that Cassio has a long, long history with Othello, and Cassio is somebody to be trusted. And you don't want to throw away your advisors, your good advisors, people you can trust, for a charlatan like Iago, even though Desdemona does not know that Iago is a charlatan. And Emilia says, Good madam, do. I warrant it grieves my husband as if the cause were his. So Emilia, Iago's wife, says, yeah, please do that, because my husband, he feels so bad that there's been this rift between Othello and Cassio. When in reality, because she's deceived too, Iago has everybody under his spell, as it were. And Desdemona says, oh, that's an honest fellow, referring to Iago. Do not doubt, Cassio, but I will have my lord and you again as friendly as you were. And Cassio, being very formal, he says, Bounteous madam, whatever shall become of Michael Cassio, he's never anything but your true servant. Meaning, I will never forget your helping me this way. And Desdemona says, I know it. I thank you. You do love my lord. You've known him long, and be assured you shall in strangeness stand no farther off than in a politic distance. I will take care of this so that things can get back to normal. And he says, Cassio says, Aye, but lady, that policy may either last so long or feed upon such an ice and waters diet or breed itself out so out of circumstance that I being absent and my place supplied, my general forget my love and service. I hope this happens soon, because if I am not around him, I will be replaced and he will forget about me. My puppy has something to say about this. Aries, stop. And Desdemona reassures him, do not doubt that. Before Emilia here, I promise you, I give thee warrant of thy place. Assure thee, I do vow of friendship. I'll perform it to the last article. My lord shall never rest. I'll watch him tame, calm down, and talk him out of patience. His bed shall seem a school, his board a shrift. I'll intermingle everything that he does with your suit, with what you want. Therefore be merry, be happy, Cassio. For thy solicitor, me, Desdemona, shall rather die than give thy cause away. So she is going to continue to work on behalf of Cassio to reinstate him. And she would rather die than not follow through with her words, because she is a person of virtue and of kindness and of patience. She doesn't care if it's going to take a long time, but she is going to be even-handed about it, for it. And she's helping out somebody. She's charitable. So Iago and Othello enter the stage, and just according to Iago's plan, Othello can see that his wife is talking to Cassio. And Iago, of course, whispers into his ear, I like that knot. And Othello's all, oh, what dost thou say? Oh, nothing, my lord, or if, well, I know not what. And Othello says, was that not Cassio parted from my wife that just left? And Iago's all, Cassio, my lord? No, sure I cannot think it that he would steal away so guilty-like, seeing your coming. So because Cassio is comporting himself with decorum, Iago is saying that he must have stolen away like a thief. And Othello says, I do believe it was he. And Desdemona greets her husband, how now, my lord? Because Iago and Othello are moving closer to her down the stage. I've been talking with a suitor here, a man that languishes in your displeasure. So she's right out open. I've been talking to somebody who wants something for you, who you're mad at. What is it you mean? Why, you're Lieutenant Cassio, good my lord. If I have any grace or power to move you, his present reconciliation take. For if he be not one that truly loves you, that errs in ignorance and not in cunning, I have no judgment in the honest face. I pray thee, call him back and talk to him. And Othello's like, well, then why did he just leave? Because he's already starting to believe Iago. Went he hence now? Yes, faith, so humbled that he had left part of his grief with me to suffer with him. Good love, she calls him a pet name. Good love, call him back. Not now, sweet Desdemona, some other time. But shall it be shortly? The sooner, sweet, for you. I'll do it for you, sweetie. Shall it be at supper tonight? No, not tonight. Tomorrow dinner? Meaning lunch. Then? I shall not dine at home. I meet the captains at the Citadel. Why then tomorrow night, or Tuesday morn, or Tuesday noon, or night, or Wednesday morn. I pray thee name the time, but let it not exceed 3 days. In faith, he's penitent, he's sorry. And yet his trespass and our common reason, save that they say the wars must make examples out of their best, is not almost a fault to incur a private check. He's erred, he's sorry about it, but he does not need to be humiliated about it. And she continues, when shall he come? Tell me, Othello, I wonder in my soul what you could ask me that I should deny or stand so mammering on. So why do I have to keep saying this again and again and again? What? Michael Cassio, he came with you when you were wooing me. And so many a time when I spoke of you dispraisingly, he has taken your part. When I badmouthed you to him, he stuck up for you. to have so much to do to bring him in? By your lady I could do much. And Othello's like, pray thee no more. Let him come when he will, I will deny thee nothing. I'll give you whatever you want. He's frustrated, right? And he's going to say, I will deny thee nothing in a minute, because Desdemona's not going to let up, because she is diligent. She wants him to commit to talking to Cassio, to making a reconciliation with him, his first lieutenant. Why, this is not a boon, 'tis as I should entreat you to wear your gloves. Okay? All I'm telling you is what is best for you to do. Wear your gloves, or feed on nourishing dishes, or keep warm, or sue to you to do a particular profit to your own person. I am only trying to help you. Nay, when I have a suit wherein I mean to touch your love indeed, it shall be full of poise and difficult weight, and fearful to be granted. Waiting, I would like you to do it to help yourself. And he says, Othello says, I will deny thee nothing. Now, that's how he feels at the moment, but he is going to end up denying her life and denying her all of her virtues. And then he says to her, just leave me by myself for a while, because he needs to think, because he is upset. And she says, shall I deny you? No. Farewell, my lord. And she leaves immediately. Farewell, my Desdemona. I'll come to thee straight, meaning I'll be right there with you. And Desdemona tells Emilia to leave with her and says, I am obedient. I am obedient to you, my lord. And then Othello, immediately, he's already, after knowing how much she loves him, he's wavering. Like, maybe she's saying the truth, but maybe not. And he says in line 90, excellent wretch, perdition catch my soul, but I do love her, and when I love thee not, chaos is come again. Oh, I love her, and if I stop loving her, everything is going to be ruined. And then Iago interrupts him. My noble lord, what does that say, Iago? Did Michael Cassio, when you wooed my lady, know of your love? Was he around when he knew that you were courting Desdemona? He did from first to last. Why do you ask? Just but for satisfaction of my thought. No further harm. So right here, Iago is giving words into Othello's ear to make him doubt Cassio and his own wife. And he's trying to rouse suspicion and withhold and pretend as though he's on Cassio's side. Why have they thought, Iago? I did not think he had been acquainted with her. Can you imagine how dirty he makes even that word sound? Cassio has been acquainted on a normal basis with Desdemona since Othello started courting her. Not acquainted in any other sense. Oh yes, and went between us very often. I used to send him back and forth to give messages. Indeed. Indeed. Discernest thou aught in that? Is he not honest? Is Cassio not chaste? Honest, my lord? Honest. My lord, for aught I know. I don't know. What dost thou think? Think, my lord? Think, my lord? By heaven, he echoes me. So, have you ever played this game with somebody where they don't know you're playing the game, and you just repeat exactly what they say? And how frustrating that is, because that's what we call an echo chamber, where you get no answers but the answers of yourself, right? As if there were some monster in his thought, too hideous to be shown. Thou dost mean something. I heard thee say even now that thou likest not that when Cassio left my wife. What didst not like? What did you not like? And when I told thee he was of my counsel in my whole course of wooing, thou criest, indeed? And didst contract Indeed, and purse thy brow together, as if thou hast shut up in thy brain some horrible conceit. If you love me, if thou dost love me, show me thy thought. My Lord, you know I love you. I think thou dost, and for I know thou art full of love and honesty, and weighest thy words before thou givest them breath. Therefore, these steps of thine frighten me more. For such things in a false, disloyal knave are tricks of custom. You know, Othello's been around people who fawn on him, who are like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And that's just what's coming out of their mouth, not what they're doing behind the scene. And he is totally deceived by Iago. And he says, but in a man that's just, there are close dilations working from the heart that passion cannot rule. But in an honest person, when an honest person hesitates, that means that maybe there's something more to be revealed. And Iago responds, and this is about line 123. For Michael Cassio, I'd ever sworn, I think he's honest. And Othello says, I think so too. And then Iago says this great line. Men should be what they seem. So people should be who they portray themselves to be. But remember, this is coming out of Iago's mouth, who says in the very beginning of the play, I am not what I am. And Othello agrees with him. Certain men should be what they seem. Meaning, yeah, you're right. Men should be what they seem. Well, why then? I think Cassio's an honest man. And Othello is not going to let it go because Iago has piqued his interest. Nay, yet there's more in this. I pray thee, speak to me as to thy thinkings, as thou dost ruminate and give thy worst of thoughts the worst of words. Oh, I'm sorry. Good my lord, pardon me. Though I am bound to every act of duty, I am not bound that all slaves are free to utter my thoughts. Why, but what if I don't have to tell you what I'm thinking, because what if they are vile and false? And Othello ends up saying to him in line 142, thou dost conspire against my friend Iago, if thou but thinkst him wrong, and makest his ear a stranger to thy thoughts. So, thy friend, not my friend. If you don't tell me what you're really thinking, you are harming me. And so then Iago, he's going to give in a little bit. I do the speech, though perchance I am vicious in my guess, as I confess it's my nature. My nature is my innermost way, my innermost plague, to spy into abuses, and often my jealousy, envy, shapes faults that are not. So oftentimes I imagine that things that aren't happening. That your wisdom yet from one that so imperfectly conjects would take no notice, nor build yourself a trouble out of this scattering and unsure observance. I don't know if I can trust what I'm thinking, Othello, and I don't want to harm you, so please don't make me speak up. Can't you imagine you have someone who you think is one of your best friends, and they say, I need to tell you something. And you say, what is it? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I might not be accurate about it. It were not for your quiet, nor your good, nor for your manhood, honesty, and wisdom to let you know my thoughts. So, you don't want to know my thoughts because it's going to take away your manhood. It's going to take away your chastity. It's going to take away your wisdom. So, you will not be a man anymore, and you certainly won't be wise. and ye will not be chaste. What do you mean? Othello says, what dost thou mean? Good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. So your reputation is what makes your soul. Who steals my purse? It's trash. So monetary things are nothing compared to reputation. 'Twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him and makes me poor indeed. If you ask my thoughts, you're going to lose your reputation. By heaven, I'll know your thoughts. So tell me. You cannot if my heart were in your hand, nor shalt thou while 'tis in my custody. Even if you reached inside and grabbed my heart, I'm not saying anything more. Ha! Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster with which does mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who certain of his fate loves not his wronger. Okay? So, not only is he going to steal manhood, honesty, and wisdom from Othello, so emasculate him, he's going to, and he is planning on ruining his whole life. He's saying that it's better to be a cuckold, a man who's been betrayed. Whoops, let's get that other C in there. A man who's been betrayed by his wife, and to know it, and to not love, than to be a cuckold and have things going on outside of your marriage. But oh, what damned minutes tells he o'er who doubts, yet doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves. It's horrible to be being betrayed and still love the woman who's betraying you. And Othello says, oh, misery. And Iago says, poor and content is rich, and rich enough, but rich fineless, being really wealthy, is as poor as winter to him that ever fears he shall be poor. So if you have all the money in the world, and you spend all of your time worrying about how somehow that money is going to be taken away, then you are still really poor indeed. Good God, the souls of all my tribe defend from jealousy, even though this is exactly what Iago is creating in Othello. And Othello doesn't quite understand. Why is this? Thinkest thou I would make a life of jealousy, to follow still the changes of the moon with fresh suspicions? No. To be once endowed is once to be resolved. Exchange me for a goat, which is another name for a cuckold. Put horns on me, meaning that's where the term horny comes from. Okay? Cuckold is putting the horns on a goat. Goats are not known for their fidelity, exactly. Exchange me for a goat when I shall turn the business of my soul to such exsufflicate and blown surmises. I'll never do that. Matching this inference, 'tis not to make me jealous to say my wife is fair. It doesn't make me jealous when people say my wife is beautiful, that she feeds well, that she's a great cook, that she loves company, that she's free of speech, sings, plays, and dances. Where virtue is, which the 7 virtues, where virtue is, there are more virtuous. Nor from mine own weak merits will I draw the smallest fear or doubt of her revolt. For she had eyes, and she chose me. No, Iago, I'll have to see before I doubt. Because you know that saying, right? Seeing is believing. But when it's being scripted or puppeteered by Iago, one can't trust one's own vision, right? If you have 4 people, just as a contemporary example, if you have 4 people witness a car accident, guess what each person says? Something different. But if you have 4 people and one of them telling the other 4 what happened, they'll be like, oh, maybe that's what I saw. And that's exactly what Iago is doing. So I'll see before I doubt. When I doubt, I'll prove it. And on the proof, there's no more but this. Away at once with love or jealousy. If I end up doubting my wife, there will be no more love. And Iago's like, I'm glad of this, for now I shall have reason to show the love and duty that I bear you, with franker spirit, so I'll speak more freely. Therefore, as I'm bound, receive it from me. I speak not yet of proof. Look at your wife. Observe her well with Cassio. Wear your eyes thus, not jealous nor secure. I would not have your free and noble nature out of self-bounty be abused, even though that's exactly what he wants to do, is abuse him. Look to it. I know our country disposition well. In Venice they do let God see, and they, in this line, on line 201 or 2, I guess 203, they, meaning wives, dare not, wives as they, in Venice, wives do let God see the pranks they dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave it undone, but to keep it unknown. And Othello can't believe it. Dost thou say so? Are you serious? And Iago's like, well, she did deceive her father, marrying you, and when she seemed to shake and fear your looks, she loved them most. And Othello has to think about that. Okay, if she never told her father, she did pretend to her father not to love me. And he's like, and so she did. Why go then? She that so young could give out such a seeming to seal, to cover up her father's eyes, up close as an oak. He thought it was witchcraft, but I'm much to blame. I humbly do beseech you of your pardon for too much loving you. I'm only telling you this because I love you so much. You know, it reminds me of if you're in a relationship, right? And you know you're being faithful. And your partner says, are you cheating on me? And you're like, no. Why would you even say such a thing? Well, it's just because I love you so much. Even though what your partner is confessing by accusing you is that, by the way, I'm cheating on you. And Othello says, I am bound to thee forever. Because he believes Iago really loves him. I see this has a little dashed your spirits. Because Othello looks sad now, and he's thinking, not a jot, not a jot. In faith, I fear it has. I hope you will consider what is spoke comes from my love. I'm only doing this because I love you. But I do see you are moved emotionally. I pray you not restrain my speech to grosser issues, nor to larger reach than to suspicion. I won't. Should you do so, my lord, my speech should fall into such vile success as my thoughts aim not at. Cassio is my worthy friend, my lord. Oh, I see you're having a hard time. No, not much moved, says Othello. I do not think, but Desdemona's honest. Meaning, Desdemona is chaste. Long live she so, and long live you think so. Do you hear the doubt that he's sowing? Yeah, I hope that she's chaste and that she's faithful to you. And I hope that forever, and I hope that she does that her whole life. And I hope that you continue to think so. And then Othello was thinking about how humans act, and yet how nature erring from itself. There's the point. As to be bold with you, not to affect many proposed matches of her own clime, her own social status, her own complexion and degree, where we see in all things nature tends, one may smell in such a will most rank. Okay, so you can look beautiful and be very, very stinky. Foul disproportions, though unnatural. But pardon me, I do not in position distinctly speak of her, though I may fear her with will, recoiling to her better judgment, may fall to match you with her country forms and happily repent. On the other hand, you know where she comes from. Maybe she's going to choose somebody else to sleep with. And Othello says, "Farewell, farewell. If more dost thou perceive, let me know more. Set on my wife to observe. Leave me, Iago." Okay. This is in sharp contrast. He has just given Iago permission to spy on his wife. What did he say to his father-in-law when his father-in-law accused him of witchcraft? He said, "Let her speak for herself." But Iago has poured this poison into him to the point where no longer is he going to go straight to the source and say, "Look, Iago was saying that you're sleeping with Cassio. Is this true?" And Desdemona could say, "Well, Iago is a liar." But no, instead, Othello is trusting the liar to spy on his wife and tell him if he perceives more, if he finds anything more out. "My lord, I take my leave." And then Othello, obviously very, very conflicted, asks this question: "Why did I marry?" So he's been a bachelor his whole life. He could be with anybody that he wants to be with. He has the power, he has the money, he has the influence. And now he's regretting, possibly, why he married. And then he refers to Iago as this honest creature and says that doubtless he sees and knows more, much more, than he unfolds. But if Iago were honest, meaning if he were chaste, and if he told the truth, then why would he not tell the truth? Okay. But Othello trusts him, and Iago comes back and says, "My lord, I'd like to entreat your honor to scan this thing no further. Don't think about this anymore. Leave it to time. Although 'tis fit that Cassio have his place, although it's good that Cassio, gets back into the good place with you, his rank, for sure he fills it up with great ability. Yet, if you please, don't do that for a while. You shall by that perceive him and his means. Take note." So, don't think about this anymore and don't worry about it. But in the meantime, don't forgive Cassio about his drunken behavior, and just wait and see. And then watch your wife. Note if your lady strain his entertainment with any strong or vehement importunity. Much will be seen in that. In the meantime, let me be thought too busy in my fears as were the cause I have to fear I am, and hold her free, I do beseech your honor. Okay, so this is Shakespeare punning, where he says, in the parentheses of line 254, "Worthy cause I have to fear I am." Okay. Yeah. Don't worry about my concerns about your wife and Cassio. But there's another meaning here. Worthy cause I have to fear I am. I am is, according to the Old Testament, the name of the God who talks to Moses. I am who I am. And remember, Iago is, I am not what I am. Iago does have, in the scheme of things in Christianity, reason to fear the great I am. Okay, so he leaves, and Othello's interpretation is, "This fellow is of exceeding honesty and knows all qualities with a learned spirit of human dealings. If I do prove her haggard, though that her jesses were my dear heart springs, I'd whistle her off and let her down the wind to prey at fortune. If I find out she has been unfaithful, I will cast her aside happily, for I am black and have not those soft parts of conversation that chamberers have, or for I am declined into the vale of years. I'm old and I'm black, yet that's not much. She's gone. So if I find out, she's gone. I'm abused, and my relief must be to hate her, to loathe her. Curse of marriage, that we can call these delicate creatures ours, but not their appetites. I'd rather be a toad and live upon the vapor of a dungeon than keep a corner in the thing I love for others' uses. I would rather be a toad in the bottom of a dungeon than to have a wife that other men are using. Yet 'tis the plague of great ones, prerogatived are they less than the base, 'tis destiny unshunnable like death. But many a great woman has been unfaithful to her husband. It's just like death, it comes to everybody. Do you see how fast Othello is shifting his view of his wife, who loves him? All because of a trusted advisor. Okay, now what's going to happen is Desdemona is going to come on the stage, because we have her come on stage with Emilia and a prop. And this is a theatrical convention. The prop, a convention, meaning this is a tradition in theater that a note or a piece of clothing or an article of jewelry leads to more intrigue in the plot. Desdemona is going to bring in a handkerchief that Othello has given her while he was courting her. And Othello is so upset that he's starting to get a headache. And she's going to try to use her handkerchief to put some pressure on his head so that he feels better. And in doing so, he's going to say, it's not big enough. And she's going to drop it. And Emilia is going to pick that handkerchief up because her husband, Iago, has begged her more than 100 times to steal it because he knows that this is a symbol of Othello and Desdemona's love. And as she's entering, Othello says, if Desdemona be false, oh, then heaven mocks itself. I'll not believe it. And Desdemona, how now, my dear Othello? Everybody's waiting for lunch. And Othello says, I'm to blame. Why do you speak so faintly? Because he's like, I'm to blame. Meaning, I'm sorry everybody's waiting. Also meaning that he is going to be to blame for trusting the wrong people. That is his tragic flaw. That and jealousy, right? I have a pain upon my forehead here. Faith that's with watching 'twill away again. Let me but bind it hard within this hour, it will be well. Your napkin, your handkerchief is too little, he says. And he pushes it from him and it falls. But she's so concerned about the pain her husband is in that this cherished memento, not memento, I'm speaking Spanish now, memento, memory, escapes her notice because she wants to make sure he's okay. And Othello says, come, I'll go in with you. I'm very sorry you're not well. And they exit, and Emilia immediately picks up the handkerchief. I am glad I found this napkin. This was the first remembrance from the Moor. My wayward husband hath 100 times wooed me to steal it, and I will give it to him so he can please his fantasy. And Iago enters, and here I want you to pay attention to how he treats Emilia, his wife. he's already talked about how he thinks that Othello must have taken his office, slept with her, and here she's done something for him, stolen an item he's asked her to steal many, many, many times, hundreds of times, she says. And listen how he treats her. And Iago says, "How now? What are you doing here alone? Do not chide, I have something for you." "A thing for me? It is a common thing?" Huh? To have a foolish wife. So, you have a thing for me? You are a common thing. You are not just a thing, you are a foolish wife. Oh, honey, you just melt my heart when you say that, right? So go to line 305. "Oh, is that all? What will you give me now for that same handkerchief?" "What handkerchief?" "What handkerchief? Why, that the Moor first gave to Desdemona, that which you so often did bid me to steal." "Hast stolen it from her? Did you get it?" "No, faith, she let it drop by negligence, and to the advantage I, being here, took it up. Look, here it is. I didn't steal it, I found it. For you." "A good wench. Give it to me. What will you do with it, that you have been so earnest to have me filch it, to steal it?" "What is that to you? What are you going to do with it?" He grabs it. "What is that to you? If it be not for some purpose of importance, give it to me again. Poor lady, she'll run mad. She'll go crazy when she can't find it. Be not known on it. I have use for it. Go and leave me." So, thanks. Get the hell out of here. And don't ask me what I'm doing with it. And so now Iago is on the stage alone again, speaking to the audience and tell us his plan about how to continue to foment jealousy regarding Cassio and Desdemona. "I will, in Cassio's lodgings, lose this napkin and let him find it. Trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmations strong as proofs of Holy Writ." So trifles, when you're jealous, trifles mean nothings. But if you're jealous, they're as important as Scripture, Holy Writ. "This may do something. The more already changes with my poison. Dangerous conceits are in their nature poisons, which at the first are scarce found to distaste, but with a little act upon the blood, burn like the mines of sulfur." So jealousy leads to hell. It's good talking to you. I'll be back with the second part of Act 3. Thank you so much. Just remember, make sure you've taken notes on all of this. And if you run into an Iago, take a second look at him and push him away. Thank you.